What's up, everybody? I am Michael First Jason 2012, and this is.
Treasure Green 035.
We're going to be going over what happened on Raw and on Impact, especially on what's going to happen now with Daniel Bryan injured. You saw what happened on Raw, right?
Yeah, I did. It was devastating and practically wow. Just big wow.
Yeah, this kind of shocks a lot of people because Daniel Bryan, back in WrestleMania 30, he had his moment. He defeated Triple H. He won the World Heavyweight Championship, defeating Randy Orton and Batista, and what felt a little similar like WrestleMania 20 with Triple H, HBK, and Chris Benoit. I mean, you saw that match?
I did. It was like I actually thought they were gonna win.
Yeah, and I remember the reaction they got, Triple H and HBK got, while Benoit got like a huge standing ovation.
Yeah, they didn't like that.
Yeah, and then it was kind of similar. I mean, Batista got a lot of boos. Randy Orton, I think, was a little mixed, but Daniel Bryan got a huge pop. And how they took out Bryan during that match with the power bomb and the RKO was kind of like similar what Shawn Michaels and Triple H did to Benoit when they put him through the table and they would just focus on each other. It seems a little similar what they did there.
And that's the routine, basically trying to end everybody's career.
Yeah. Well, Bryan was successful. He had his moment, and it was kind of a sad moment though because first he got married, which was great for him.
Yeah.
But later his father passed away on Monday, which was the time he was supposed to appear.
Tragedy.
Yeah, it was a big tragedy, and it sucks for Bryan, who had to go through. He went on with the show. He went on with the show, and was.
But you could tell he was hurting.
Yeah, he was, and he still went on and fought Kane at Extreme Rules, which was actually a pretty good match between these two guys. I was kind of wondering if this was going to be a great match because Kane is not young anymore. He's old. He can't even do some of the stuff he used to do years ago, which it's no surprise.
Pick up people.
Yeah.
Slam to the floor.
Yeah, and I guess that's one of the other reasons why someone like Undertaker is no longer around, because he is just not there anymore. His body just can't handle it anymore.
And he lost with Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, that was a huge shocker right there.
Oh yeah.
I think a lot of people didn't expect that.
I was pissed, but hey.
Yeah, but anyways, the next night we saw Bryan, successful in retaining his championship. But then they were still dealing with the whole Kane thing, and Brie Bella, her screams sucked. She could not act well, scared.
Nope.
But then the next night, this past Monday night, Daniel Bryan came out and said that he suffered a neck injury and would have to be out for, well, he wasn't sure how long.
But he will be back.
Yeah, he's going to show up on Raw and let us know what's going to happen. But, if Bryan's injury is going to take him out for more than a month, then is WWE going to strip him of the championship? Because
it's what it looks like.
Yeah, but what they didn't do it with CM Punk. You remember when he suffered that knee injury?
Knee injury.
He was out for like 6 or 4 weeks.
Give or take.
Yeah, and he didn't compete at all, and they still let him keep the championship because he was going to face The Rock at the Royal Rumble. And
so yeah, I got the thing. It's like knee injuries. You can fix that really. Neck is it's tough.
Unlike Rey Mysterio, that he was out for 11 months back in 2000, from 2006 to 2007. So it's not this. It wasn't the same, but he's had like many knee surgeries to his knees. But with Bryan, I heard it wasn't a serious injury, so he'll probably be back in the ring soon. But the good thing is it's not a serious injury like what happened with Edge. Remember 2003 when he suffered that injury that took him out for
a while.
I think 13 months. 13 months, and when he came back. He went out there and he knew he was on borrowed time. For 6 years, for 7 years actually, he went out there and has done pretty well. Won the Intercontinental title, tag team titles, and dozens of world championship reigns.
Oh yeah.
And
those
he's
speakers, man, you gotta love those speakers.
probably not as good as Roman Reigns though.
Oh,
That guy would.
That's a huge dead.
And that guy was a former football player.
Oh, yeah, I think if we get hit, we're done for.
Yeah, but Edge was on borrowed time. He came back and told everybody that he was not gonna, because he knew he wasn't gonna last long, and we found that out in 2011 when he told everybody he was gonna retire, and that kind of sucked. But he knew he had to, because if he didn't, he would probably end up being paralyzed, and I think that's the worst thing. That's the worst thing anybody wants, is to be paralyzed. So it's a good thing for Edge. He did retire, but I am also glad Daniel Bryan's injury isn't too severe.
Yeah.
So he'll be back, and hopefully it's not as long as what happened with John Cena, who suffered a neck injury years ago.
Yeah.
But he came back, I think 3-4 months later. The same thing with Kurt Angle, how he suffered a neck injury before WrestleMania 19 when he fought Brock Lesnar, and he came back in a few short months. So we might see Bryan come back soon, but until then, who do you see to face Kane for the World Championship? Who do you see that can fill Bryan's spot until he comes back?
I think it should be one of the Sheilas, because I mean they need their
but you gotta remember that they're currently right now in a rivalry with the Evolution. They're gonna face them at Payback, and they can't have John Cena do it because, let's face it, he's no more. He
ain't popular.
Yeah, he is not, and he's right now in a rivalry with Bray Wyatt, who I am very impressed how well he's done. I mean,
and as for the other guy, the guy that always comes out partying up and down.
Adam Rose, I like him, but I think some of the fans don't know him much. I think it's gonna take some time. It took time for Bray Wyatt to get over with the crowd. Mm-hmm. It took a while for the Shield too, but that was different because especially in their first match, a TLC match against Ryback and Team Hell No. I mean, that was a pretty cool match. I was actually worried that the Shield were not going to get over, because this is their first time. That was their first match, their first big match, and they were successful. And look what happened after that. They've been successful against John Cena, against Sheamus, and WrestleMania 2 years in a row. They were victorious.
Yeah, I mean, there's pretty much nobody out there that can challenge right now the Red Machine.
Yeah, well, and I think that's kind of a problem with TNA right now, but we'll get to that in a bit. But I think since the next pay-per-view is going to be in Illinois, I think it makes sense that they're going to probably try to bring back CM Punk, because it's going to be near his home. And
it could be a big surprise if it is.
Yeah, I think it makes sense that they do bring Punk back in and win the World Championship.
Yeah.
Because remember, it looked like they were going to have him rival with Kane earlier in the year after he was eliminated in the Rumble match. So it looked like they had something planned until Punk walked out. But if they do have Punk win the championship, then where does he go from there? What are they going to do with him? Because his contract was expiring in the summer, so either they're going to have his contract be extended just a little bit, or he has decided to stay for a little while longer.
Actually, they should extend his contract.
Yeah, and my concern is how the fans are going to react to him, because his fans in Illinois are going to give him a good standing ovation, but what about the other towns that they go to? Because Punk walked out for months without an explanation, without telling people when was he coming back. I mean, when Stone Cold did that years ago, everybody was upset, but when he came back, we forgot all about it.
Yeah, fans are fans. I mean, they're always gonna be upset for anything, right?
Yeah, but I'm curious to see what's gonna happen. But I think it makes sense for Punk to do it, for Punk to be the world champion until Bryan comes back, and they could settle this rivalry, and Punk could lose the championship to Daniel Bryan, because he talked about putting over Bryan, and he could pass the title on to Bryan.
Easily.
Yeah, that is until Cesaro, who I think will win Money in the Bank, will cash in it, because right now he's on a huge roll.
Yeah. Just because of that big.
No, I don't think it's Paul Heyman though. I think it's because of how well he's done. I mean, you saw his match with Randy Orton on SmackDown?
Yeah.
How the fans were behind him and how when he beat Randy Orton.
Everybody was amazed. I mean,
and then at WrestleMania 30 when he lifted the Big Show.
That was amazing.
That was awesome. I was hoping for Ziggler to win, but Cesaro, damn, how he did it.
His size picking up that much.
Yeah, the Switch Superman indeed.
Yeah.
All right, now we get to TNA, which I'm surprised is still around after all the mistakes they've made these last few years.
I thought they were going to shut down for a while.
Yeah, especially earlier this year when they were going to go to the UK for their tour.
Yeah.
And how there was talk about how Impact lost they were not going to come back to the Impact Zone in Universal Studios because they were only there for a few weeks. So I was wondering if they don't have anywhere to go because they can't go back on the road. That's why they stopped because they weren't making money.
No.
And they were
not too many friends are into it.
No. So, but I was happy when MVP came because I thought, okay, something might be good from this, especially when we brought on the Wolves, who I think are the only good tag team right now. Because any other tag team on TNA, they have the bromance and.
Too many romances.
I think they remind me of a team that WWE had years ago. I can't remember their names, but they were apparently like stripper guys. I don't know.
That's what I've been hearing about them. Yeah. They're stripper guys.
Yeah, and Bad Influence. Are they still even together? Bad Influence?
Not that for those few days what happened on that match. It's been a while already.
Yeah, it has been
amazing to come back.
Ever since lockdown, we have not seen them. I mean, Chris Sabin left months ago. He left, and I think that was a mistake that he made for coming back because he could have left and gone with Alex Shelley, his former tag partner. Yeah. They could have gone to WWE maybe. I mean, hell, the Motor City Machine Guns, Generation Me there.
More money.
Yeah, put them in NXT. They would have done well.
Yeah.
But right now, TNA don't have any tag team, any good knockouts.
Any popularity.
Nothing even originality about this show. I mean, they used to say they were original, but now not anymore. I mean, they've been bringing former WWE guys. They've been bringing back old TNA stars like Angelina Love. I mean, I'm happy she came back, but reforming the Beautiful People, I think, was kind of
a bad mistake.
Yeah, I mean, nobody cares about those two anymore.
No,
it's
old story.
Yeah, I mean, they even had to release that woman who was with Gail Kim because Gail Kim stated she couldn't wrestle. If you're gonna waste money to bring in
somebody who don't want to wrestle,
who can't wrestle or is that good, then don't bother doing that and bring someone else in. I mean, TNA has been making a lot of mistakes for the last few years. I mean, for 5 years actually.
Yeah.
And they've been ripping off ideas from WWE as well.
Stealing their ideas too.
Yeah. I mean, even right now they're ripping off another idea. I mean, for those who saw what happened, Bobby Lashley and Kenny King, they joined MVP, and it looked like they're the new evolution of team. The evolution, of complete rip off. But I don't think anybody gives a shit about those guys because first off, the difference between them is Evolution has 31 World Championship reigns. MVP, King, and Lashley. None. I mean, Lashley, I don't know if you count the ECW World Championship. I guess you could.
I guess you could, but it's just one.
Yeah, just one guy.
Yeah.
MVP, while he was in WWE, he had a good year. He had, especially against Chris Benoit at WrestleMania 23. That was an awesome match between those two guys. I haven't seen anybody actually able to counter everything Benoit did, except for Angle, but. That was still a good match, and he had a long reign U.S. Championship reign until Dean Ambrose broke that record, and he was a tag team champion. But then afterwards, nothing. They just didn't have any use for him anymore.
So they let him go.
Yeah, and he's disappeared for years from TV. He shows up at Impact. He didn't get much reaction, although I was happy he was back.
Yeah.
But
Probably went like in the movies or something.
yeah, but I was still confused by the whole storyline because the storyline they have is confusing. I mean, first Dixie Carter is the heel leader of the company, a ripoff of Stephanie. Because I mean, let's face it, I think Stephanie would make Dixie cry if they got into a.
I hope they do.
Probably. But yeah, Dixie Carter was a heel. Didn't work out well. She was just annoying. Nobody cared. They brought in MVP. And he was able to get rid of Dixie Carter at Lockdown.
Yep.
But then she showed up a few weeks later, and
everybody like, oh, you back.
Yeah. And then a few weeks later, now MVP turned heel. I mean, what are they gonna do next? They're gonna have him and Dixie work together.
Probably so. I mean, but hey, what can you do about that, right?
Yeah, and it still kind of feels dumb with this whole storyline they're going with, especially with Eric Young world champion. Did you hear that every time Eric Young came out, even for his matches, the ratings went down?
He's not that much good.
No. I think it confuses me because when they had Eric Young win the world championship, there wasn't that much people watching because everybody just assumed Magnus was gonna win because they always gave him, as they said, shitty endings.
Yes.
So seems to me like TNA is slowly dying. It's gonna go out like WCW did years ago. How that ended for them.
I'm gonna cry right now.
Yeah. Well, there was one last thing I wanted to talk about. Kevin Steen. Do you know who he is?
Actually, no. I mean, that's the whole point of that. I mean, Kevin Steen, who's that guy, right?
He's from Ring of Honor. He's actually the new Samoa Joe for that company. He's actually done pretty well he's way better than Joe. First off, Joe, he has not gained that much weight like Joe did and has to wear a shirt every time.
You have to handle man titties and stuff, yeah.
I think that's why Joe wears a shirt now.
Yeah.
I think he's also stopped trying in TNA. I think he stopped trying. I think he regrets staying in the company now.
And regrets eating all those burgers too.
Probably.
Yeah.
Anyways, Kevin Steen, he's become very popular. He's won the Ring of Honor championship. He had that rivalry with Sami Zayn. You know who he is?
Sami Zayn's a very good fighter.
Yeah, they had a good rivalry. They were former partners, and they had an amazing rivalry. And there is talk how Kevin Steen might come to WWE because there was a tryout they had, and he and two other Ring of Honor guys went to the WWE tryout, and I heard Kevin Steen not only lost a lot of weight, but he was in good wrestling shape and actually looked good. He actually did well, and now there could be talk about him coming to WWE.
Well, if he does, that's more ratings for them.
Yeah, hell, I mean, if they do bring him in, they need to bring him in NXT, because if they rush him in like they've done with other guys, they do not last very long. I mean, you remember Kizarny?
Kizarny, he didn't last long not one bit.
I think 2 weeks.
That's it. Maybe 3 is the max.
I don't know. I remember the last match he had was a Battle Royale, but that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if Kevin Steen ever does come, he would probably do well if they have him team up with Sami Zayn and go up against the Ascendants, who I cannot wait to see in the main roster.
Me neither. I'm gonna record that. I don't know about you.
Yeah. Well, that's everybody. If you guys have any questions, leave some comments below, and I'll get to them as soon as possible. Take care and see you all next time.
Laters.